As always, we have a point of view. And realize this. Point of views, perhaps. Take it as your point of view. Hmm? The whole self knows itself through its selves it creates. The internal journey lies. The awareness, the intelligence, the expansion of you forever. Hmm? The external reflection, that is your experience, is a reinforcement of the internal journey. The things you see, interpret, that give you a relationship to reality, allow you to know yourself. Hmm? So when the mind attaches to relevance and the emotion feels the equation to that interpretation, well, then your reality becomes relevant. You are an experiencer of your own truth. Hmm. Maybe we can review a little about some fundamentals. If law one, if your perspective allows you to know this, is existence itself, the singularity, the all, combination of another law. If the singularity knows itself as existence, then all existence is true, and all of non-existence is not true. Then all of your nows are true to you. When you focus on the self you created for the experience of your mastery, and you look at through your mastery of observation, then maybe you can detect that self that is the experiencer of the human experience, the human game. The things that make you feel good, bad, oh, so purposeful, running rampant these days with cause and effect, blame, bestowing upon yourself truths. And the vitality of that truth, the vigor of it, the thrust of it, your knowing of it, well, I dare say it creates a reality of unequivocal experience of the now. You are quite alive, aren't you? You look around today and you're navigating with the perspective of your game that you're currently putting on, a show of change. Many of you are looking for answers, reasons, and that is your game. There is no standards in anyone's game. You are not victim to what's going on. You're not a victim to this. No one did this to you. You interpret it, maybe, as that truth. You interpret it as maybe conspiracy. You interpret it as maybe change. Must know something, masters. To master the self must be aware of the self created. The exquisite idea of this human that you birthed, cultivated, nurtured, coveted as your own experience, your own I am. The whole self knows itself because of you. This self knows itself because of you, your truth, your existence, your perspective. It's quite magical, isn't it? How quickly you experience in the now. Oh, sometimes your mind is distant, looking, not paying attention to the now. Maybe most of the time, taught. Not wrong, just taught. Never wrong. Choice, experience, awareness, the game of awakening matters not. But what must be known, perhaps, as a choice, is your truth about things. See, when you choose something, that's your perception. Your perception vibrates. This whole world is vibrating. You're changing the frequency with your interpretation. The human psyche is a gestalt, a vibration. And what you put out is what you get back. Mystifies the ego mind in some cases. Because it says things about you that you interpret about what is drawn into. What mind are you using? It is said that you are bound to the human experience by contracts. Someone please show me the enforcer. You must understand, maybe, perhaps, point of view, that if there is truly somebody in charge that is malicious, evil, and they can brainwash you, and they can suck you into themselves and use you like a puppet, then the inequality of the all are one and the one are all would be broken. Hmm? And if you broke that inequality, then you must be by default equal. And that equality allows you to realize that it is maybe a truth that you have chosen. It lies in the field of consciousness to choose. You're in a human idea game. What is to be left out of your game? What is to be attracted or not attracted? You don't like sometimes the game that's being played, do you? And you assign it through interpretation, the reasons, causes, effects, things of such nature that has nothing to do with you. It's always done. Isn't that the human? Built. Structure upon structure of coveting beliefs that become true and create experience. Who's creating the reality itself, I'm wondering? I mean, who's putting in the floor when you get up in the morning? The bathroom when you go to TT early in the morning? Who has the coffee machine ready for you in the morning? Who has the refrigerator? The atmosphere you breathe, the gravity that's in place, the body that hosts you every day. Are you creating that? I mean, are you manifesting that with your thoughts? Or is all of that taken care of by your wholeness? I think it's something you don't have to think about. But parts of those realities that are built in change, don't they? Your body changes. Your environment changes. It changes because of your truth. The way you interpret, the way you express, thus attracting. But what mystifies, again, the ego mind is what comes in. See, the ego mind seems to work in a field that is standardized by human in the occurrence of a co-creation. What's happening now? There's a bottom point of suffering and a top point within each one of you. That joy. And the mind works in that field, as we have said many times. And you're looking at the reality through that field. And you get a truth about that through your focus, which is being filtered through a taughtness of beliefs by your own truth, your own thrust, your own attraction. That's interesting. Oh, that's bad. I like that. Did you ever realize what you don't like is what you truly love? Otherwise, it wouldn't be there. But you got to remember, what you love isn't based upon positive or negative. It's attracted through vibration. This change is occurring, has been defined 1,000 times already. Just this now, and another 1,000, and another 1,000. So quickly you define and categorize experience in the nestlings of the human experience. That perspective limited to the conditioning of its own truth. And you want people to know it, don't you? Because it gives you life, it gives you purpose, it gives you meaning, it gives you value. What's truly going on, maybe? The truth is going on, isn't it? You've never been wrong, you're just choosing a truth, a way to perceive reality. You're trying to create out of manifestation things, and they do come, they do, in time, through effort or through allowance. But that's not why you're here, is it? To create things to make you feel better. The human's here to depend on things, to void other things for the experiencer of those. But to start to realize the internal self, where creation happens, the inter-mysteries of the kingdom of heaven that lies within you, that endless passage to forever. When you start to realize that self that observes the internal, well, the external follows, but not in the way of expectancy. The disappointments you've had for the human experience, mastery, truly. The disappointments you've had leading to depression, failure, suicide, medications, priceless, truly. The deepest, darkest, brightest, and richest colors that you can imagine, you create vibrationally every day as the human. Your emotions are signals of that. Pride, gluttony, sloth. Sound familiar? These aren't sins. Oh, no, 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 no. They're noticeabilities. greed, being represented very highly today, isn't it? It's not you want to stop them. You want to represent. You want to represent that within yourself is no longer a valuable idea. Some of you think it's greedy to earn a living. That all of this should be free. That's polarized. Creation doesn't operate within a standard. Creation is unlimited. And therefore, that unlimited, unconditional reality allows forever the endless pool of consciousness you swim, create, reinforce, and deconstruct every now. You, all of you. So this internal realization of those things that are represented as the human to transcend becomes the internal journey to self-recognition. My belief in that is the truth of that, and immediately I am the experiencer of that. I don't deserve to charge too much money for my work. I don't deserve these ideas, or I'm too much of a hero to charge money for my services, because money is evil. We don't need money. One day you will not have money. Oh yes, most certainly. But why would you live in time? Time is an illusion that you create out of the past. You cannot create the future. The future is an unknowable. It is always being attracted to you. Or you can propagate potentials through memory. Sure. My experience lies now, and it is happening at such a rate you cannot imagine how to keep up. But of course, in the ego mind, that defines productivity, betterness, value, waste of time, as the nows move, miss 90% of what's going on because it is focused on what is not now, and the now slips endlessly into the night. So when you are creating your reality in comfort and numbers behind a product of pride or I have purpose, then know these masters as your own mastery, the masters you create as yourself, the masks, if you will. I dare say the masks are being torn down within the human construct. Looks like you guys are beginning to go back to work. See, you didn't waste your time if you didn't get anything out of this, because nothing is a purpose. Change comes with potential, unknowable, always flowing through you. And how you perceive that change, which is true only to you, is in and of itself, by your mere existence, evolution. The measured parts of you that you value more than the evolutionary part of you is often disappointed or combative with change. And that gives you meaning and thrust, value and purpose. And it makes you, as the separated human created, feel good. And it It feels good to feel good. But maybe you can stop and think about something. I would propose it to you as a musing point of awareness. Take a little time, because you have, and create time so you will never run out of it. And look at the perspective, just for but a moment, about that. Look at the perspective of things that you create as choice. Not the dominion of truth that lies outside of you. The human that values a thing in truth gets the experiencer of that. And the human loves to feel good, doesn't it? And you try your entire life to maintain a certain amount of mediocrity to feel happy. Again, the musing moment I would like to offer is maybe you can see that happiness is built in as a creator. Your natural state of being is unconditional love. See, love allows you to condition because it is unconditional. A love allows you to perceive yourself as conditioned because it is unconditional. So when someone tells you to offer your penance to that way, I would muse on that choice, and does that choice lead you to perceived happiness? Promises of change through the outside. Or may you know yourself internally as the deconstruction of the valuable truths you built as human to see what lies beneath, enlightening your own beauty that needs nothing to feel happy. Ever. Many of you wonder why you came here. If you have created a Pleiadian self, or a hybrid children self, maybe a Yael or a Sasani, a Zephyr, a Draconian, Andromedan, Zeta, Octurian, fairies, Spriggans, sprites, Griffin, Grindles, Jinns, Therapians, Hathors. See, if you created that self, those selves, the whole, the multi-dimensional you, beams its light into a consciousness of co-creation and creates an experience, a Pleiadian, a Hathor. And the Hathor knows itself as a self of the self, knows its connection to its whole, but does not look back and use it in any way, because it knows it is it. So it uses the self to journey, to know itself. The game of humans is to use the self you created to know itself. But the value of the multidimensional whole self is not known upon birth, and therefore is unreliable and out of the range of most humans until you realize perhaps an enlightening day. And that enlightening day allows you to see yourself created through the evolution of the self, the human, for the absolute experience of the unknowable you that you will always know, create forever, always more, never ceasing to grow into the endless. Don't worry what happens to you. You never go away. You are the self and the whole. But the self you created is now optional. Again. So you have beliefs within that self. So let's look at beliefs of change. There used to be an age that was considered old with generational ideas. And as we became a more interested species in humanity, especially during the awakenings, right? Your lifespan grew larger. You created ways to stay around, stick around, through health and prosperity, means to be younger, whether it is done under doctor's care or what you consider natural ways, but I would wonder how you define natural and unnatural in creation. And you take this self that you created and you experience it. This self is aware that it was created. And that's past tense because you're going to value this using the tool of time. I see what I was. I can choose what I am. So someone offers up penitence. Bow down to this truth. You must obey. It fills you with fear or fills you with reason of the pain, the cause, the conspiracy theory. And it's all true. Oh, there's nothing that's false. All of these are true. See, the relative that you must know, is it true to you? Because you create your reality through truths. But the truth must be known through the self, not the logical, negotiating, compensated mind. Because that mind uses compensation of emotion as its currency of purposeful life, doesn't it? You get to bitch. You get to bitch about others and bitch about yourself. You get to get angry. You get to say, look what I found. All of it is true, masters. The emotions tell you it's true, don't they? But you can also not deny it. It's real. It's happening. But you focus in your now, and if it's not in your now, then you start recreating your world. The expectant mind wants to believe a certain world should look a certain way. The expectant mind values an earth, a world, a co-creation that fits its own interpretation of positivity, of the perfect earth, on what it's supposed to be. There is no supposed to's. Billions of earths, billions of selves occurring right now within the knowingness of you. Can't manage it, can you? So the mind manages what it can, and that receptive exchange of emotion is what it's valued. And if it values itself in polarity, then it knows it is real, and therefore you have a reality. The ego doesn't care about positive or negative. The ego is available for its continuation, and you are the choice of that continuation, not the outside, the inside choice. I see me that I create. I want to get mad at them, but it is my filter that says I should be angry at them because they caused me pain, and I feel that pain, and I need to rectify that pain with making it right because my ego says I'm a failure, or my ego says they betrayed me, and I have to act upon that which is truth, not wrong. Oh, no, truth. And that expression is vibration within the psyche, and you attract the continuation of the reality. Pramino, traika tushni atama, mihachi chitu, tramiki. You don't want little things. Little things are decorative. In the thrusting eye, this mind up here, little things. So little. You want big change, and big change is expected improvement of that foundation of the ego that needs to see it before it believes it. Consciousness is not seeable. Consciousness is experience. Your real, your life, is your proof. Your deflections of realities that you move away from you is filtered by the construct you created as your own fortress of solitude that you defend, justify, and forge up and attack those who show tread on you as irresponsible to your truth. And you get a life. The only reason why your life has happened is because you're God. The only reason will happen in the future is because you're God. You are creation itself. So why did you come here? You have many reasons, your mind tells you. But in and of itself was to create that mind. You assign things with that mind created. That personality, that self, that human. And you have an exquisite life. Any of you keep going back to your old girlfriends and trying to fix it? Any of you girls keep going back to your girlfriends or boyfriends and trying to fix it? Why would you fix it? Because you fucked up? Or you're going to give them another chance? I'm wondering how that operates outside of human. that we have to mend things, beg and accept forgiveness? Or is that the game itself that you came here to experience? Where is your focus that creates your reality? And you will understand your internal. You will start to see how reality is created. Let's not look at the manifestation things. That comes when you understand no intention aligned with the will of the now. Then you can be a manifestation of your own willingness instead of an exercise in futility, because your mind is not a creator, it is created. Your intelligence is creator, the gestalt of all that is, the drawing in of energies to reflect upon the screen of life, a reality that lies within the attraction of your own worthiness to know yourself. We use the word worthiness because you lost your worthiness in illusion. You didn't know you were part of all that is. So if we use an equation of polarity, then you are unworthy of your own existence, and you have to earn it back through your acts, through your pleasures, your pains, your sufferings. Many people find themselves worthy because they know how to suffer, and they love to allow others to suffer. They sell you guilt, which is an exchange of emotion, which is currency of ego. It's fantastic, isn't it? That's outstanding, what you have discovered. We can give you all kinds of timelines of change, but this one may be offered an opportunity to see that you don't need to escape from your life so much through the focus of life itself, that the collective currently values as life. Nothing wrong with getting up and going to work, putting in a hard days, but is work a means to an end, or is the experience of the now with the realization of the self that creates the reality? Is that now worth the focus? To let that persona out, to start to choose that reality attracted, so you may experience other than a means to an end. Safety, comfort, security, good citizen, revered by the others, revered by the church, always paying penance to them. Selling yourself for the outside development you would consider valuable over the gestalt of your own awareness. Maybe you can choose different, to see that this time has allowed you to see, oh, hello, and my goodness, I've never seen reality in such a different way, because we've been focused on things that allow me to be better then. But now I don't have anything to be. Now I am being. This mystifies and upsets lots of you. But it is the change that you created as a collective. You enlighten yourselves and you brighten up the reality attraction, and you start to shine light on change. That's always occurring, but often not chosen for fear, for loyalty, for separation, for egoic structure that kills others because they can't think like me, they can't look like me, they don't act like me. They don't worship the same God as I do. All of this is valuable as a human to see as change. And the change is not changing the outside. You all know by now that shit doesn't work. The internal changes. So how you start relating to the truths of time and recognition of the truth of now, that leaves you desperately afraid of mistakes, guilt, fears, getting it wrong, disapproval of others, to bring out this enlightened being that is always there, has never left you, the I am, and allow that self to be chosen by the self caught between two. Should I or should I not? I don't want to do this, but I'm supposed to. But you can choose not to. It's okay, Master. I am afraid to choose myself, for they will be disappointed. There might be consequences. I don't know how to love me. Well, you do now. Loving yourself is not an act of repetition. It is not positive form words. I would say if prayers worked, if creation worked off of prayers, if creation spoke English, I would say you would have a different world. See, creation is attracted to choice, perception of valuable 100% truth, which is every now. 1 second later, you can change your truth. Then that truth won't attract the same frequencies, right? Because you are not that. You're this. So when you choose this persona that says, I am now the self creating the self, so I trust myself instead of the self that is obliged to follow. Instead of being. There's much to talk about in the internal world. There's an endless amount of information. But when sudden change occurs in a matter of time, you guys shift your focus. And then you work on the self-created for recognition. But to recognize the self-created is the mastery. And the courage and the vulnerability and the absolute surrender. The internal trust is not to choose that self in the moment when you are full aware of I am instead of I am not. And if you choose that, then your world shall change. Little. Often you get bored, disappointed, discouraged, wondering when it's going to happen. Seth had said natural timing as opposed to forced timing. Neither are right or wrong. They are choices. Patience will allow you to see the seeds that you sow, and you shall reap that flourished crop. So you now know more of the internal. So I say, journey well, masters, with an offering of a new internal self, recognizing another mastery of creation, a new self, the human, that knows not itself as the Pleiadian, Yael, Sasquatch, dolphins, whales, octopi, elephants, fully aware of their sentient awareness inside, but not relying on that, not proud of it. It knows it is because of it. Its own self creates it, and it is known to itself as that. As you now know yourself created, and now you may know yourself as creator. Journey well, young masters. We bid you a good day.